This is your commercial. I have not promoted this in a minute. And I was like, I got to remind myself to promote this. Judge Joe Brown barbecue sauce. Yes, he's still, yes, go to the website, JJB, damn,
BBQ.
BBQ.com.
By the way, I'm going out to LA next week to do some commercials for this. We are ramping up and we're now in a number of stores on the West Coast, and that's spreading east. Right now, if you want this stuff, you'll have to go online and get it. And I would suggest a 3-pack, which is most economical when it comes to shipping. And if you try it, you will use it up because it is good.
Right. So JJB,
JJB,
BBQ.com.
BBQ.com.
It's good. Good, 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 good,
You've
good.
tried.
Yes. The only one I'll
Testimony.
use. All right. So
San Francisco, the
so San,
NAACP
wait,
came
so
out
do
again.
I oh wait. Do I owe you another apology?
Yeah, you do.
We did the Twitter space. That was a good Twitter space. Very productive. And listen, I'm pro reparations. You know this. And you always
Yeah,
see
but I am too. But when somebody's a con man, I'm pro wealth, okay? I'm pro good stuff, all right?
you
When
always
I
burst
hear a
my
con man
bubble.
up and promise somebody something and it's bullshit, I call bullshit. And what this is, they want the votes. And they're promising something there is no possible way they can deliver on. They want to guarantee every black person in San Francisco $5 million apiece. There is no way they will get that. That isn't even saying we would like to. That's just an outright lie and a con game. And if they wanted to do something, which they can do right now, I'll have to give it to this NAACP chapter. They have some mechanisms that could start the process now. They aren't monetary, handout, cash on the table things, but they are of benefit and they would help black folk get a leg up on the system. Now, this thing sounds good. 5 million per person.
No, it's not per
There
person.
is
It's not per
yeah,
person.
that's that I'm not talking about the initial expense. They're actually talking about, if you read it, $5 million a person and a guaranteed income for life of $92,000 per person. Now, they do not have the ability to do that. There's no way in hell to do that. And in addition, what they aren't even dealing with is, okay, when I started off practicing law 50 years ago, and I was the first black prosecutor in the city of Memphis, my salary was just $10,000. The judges in the area had a salary of $18,000 in the area. When I was the chief public defender for the city, my salary was $12,000 a year versus $18,000 for the judges. Now, that is inflated, but what's going on is $92,000 a year 50 years from now, 40 years from now, 30 years from now is not going to have the same buying power as it would next year. And they're
Okay.
lying through their teeth if they think that there is any way in hell they can get the state to okay a share of the property taxes and the state income taxes so that are sales tax so that they can get $92,000 a year guaranteed for life per qualifying black person.
All right, wait. All right, slow down because we gonna okay. So you burst my bubble the other day where I say, and I said tonight, I mean, do I owe you an apology? But we kind of disagree when it comes to the NAACP. But let me just read this real quick because it says the city's board of supervisors will weigh the draft plan, which recommends eliminating personal debt and tax burdens and duling out guaranteed annual incomes of at least $97,000 for 250 years to an undetermined number of Black citizens in addition to the hefty check. Black families could also buy homes in the expensive cities for just under $1. For just $1 under the plan aimed at amending centuries of enslavement and systemic racism that have disadvantaged Black citizens in educational, economic, and other sectors of American life.
Let me tell you the lie on that. If you're going to wipe out their debt, to what corporation are you going to do that? Because under the 15th Amendment, a corporation is a fictional person. What does it say? Due process. No person shall be deprived of life, liberty, nor property without due process of law. So you're going to cut off everybody's debt. So what the devil about the people the debts are owed to? Do they get deprived of their constitutional rights? They have due process before they are deprived of property? See, you can't even do that. And the other thing is the only standing that they could have would be as a sovereign entity. And the sovereign entity is going to sue who? And where is this going to stand up under appeal to a California court or to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals for the feds? And on top of that, California has what they call a ballot initiative. They're called propositions. And I can guarantee you that as soon as anybody passed this, there would be a number of qualifying propositions on the next ballot to say, and it would be knocked out of the box. So this is so unrealistic. It's just like, we want your votes. This is what we're doing. Our promise to you to get your votes. Don't pay attention to the fact that we're lying through our teeth, because there's no way we can deliver on this. We just want your vote because we sounded nice.
So it says the Board of Supervisors will not make any decisions regarding the 100 recommendations outlined in the plan, including highly controversial $5 million per person payment, until
that's what I was saying.
Right. Let me just finish reading this. Until it releases its final report in June, the board can then vote to change, adopt, or reject any or all the recommendations. The report, however, will not include a feasibility study to determine whether the city can afford to cumbersome vet. Critics have slammed the proposal. Cumbersome vet. FEAT. Veet. Cumbersome veet. But critics have slammed.
What it's saying is whether the city can afford the encumbrance, the burden.
Okay. Critics have slammed the proposal as impossible on multiple levels, particularly financially, as San Francisco is suffering a deep deficit amid a tech industry downturn. John Dennis, chair of the San Francisco Republican Party, said that while reparations are in order, $5 million per individual is unattainable. This conversation we're having in San Francisco is completely unserious. They just threw a number up there. There's no analyst. It seems ridiculous. And it also seems that this is the one city where it could possibly pass. One estimate figured the plan could cost the city, which has a 2022 to 2023 budget of $14 billion, roughly $50 billion. Conservative analysts estimated that each non-Black family in the city will have to pay at least $600,000. It says, quote, "There's still a veiled perspective that candidly Black folks don't deserve this," end quote, said Eric McDonald, chair of the San Francisco African American Reparations Advisory Committee. Quote, "The number itself, 5 million, is actually low when you consider the harm." Now I want to share this, because then the NAACP of San Francisco steps in And they say, so woke reparations committee eats itself. San Francisco reverend who wanted to for blacks who wanted to black people 5 million, now this is horrible wording, now rejects idea alongside local NAACP chapter and says cash should go to community projects instead. Reverend Amos Brown is the vice chair of Governor Gavin Newsom's 9-person reparations committee. He is also part of the San Francisco African American Reparations Advisory Committee, which published their $5 million suggestion in December. But he has now said the money would be better spent in the community in a statement for the National Association for Advancement of Colored People. I kind of have a problem with that. And here's why. Here's why. I want to bring up the NAACP actual, and let me know if you could see this. Can you see this?
I can see it.
So San Francisco NAACP rejects $5 million reparation payments to Blacks, call for reparations to focus on investment and opportunities in 5 key areas at a board supervisors meeting on reparations today. Is that jazz?
It probably is, but anyway.
Actually, let me share it this way because it allows me to bring it up better. Let me share it from this way. Okay, here we go. Wait a minute. Yeah, this is better. Is it? Yeah. Okay, so San Francisco. So here are the 5 key areas. Invest in education. Black students don't perform as well as their peers. We need remedial programs to help our children with reading, math, and science. The school district and the city have a moral obligation to raise up all children, and especially those whose families have been disadvantaged by discrimination. Number 2, economic empowerment. But let me just say this, number 1. You know why I disagree? No, I say number 1 is full of shit. First of all, why are you trusting the public school system? The public school systems, the billion-dollar budgets that a lot of these school districts have, they're not handling the money properly now. So you're saying now
you have to trust them to disperse the money. It's the same group. So if you're going to put your trust in them for one thing, that's like you're going in to see a doctor and you want him to deal with one question and another one comes up, same deal. But it's math. Again, take 12 people. Each of the 12 people gets $5 million under this upfront. That's a total of $60 million. With $60 million available to you, you double that, you got $120 million if you get 24 people. I can guarantee you that with 124 million people, you can make a dent in the poverty level in an area if you spend it wisely on education, vocational education, academic rehabilitation. Now, you're going to give out to 24 people are going to get $5 million. That is not, that's what you get. 24 people is $120 million. Now, if you take $120 million and you give it to 24 people, that's very good. Each of those 24 people won the lottery. But what the hell did you do with the other 100-some thousand people that live in San Francisco or the San Francisco area who are Black? Nothing. So what can you do for a group of Black folk?
Well, where did you get the 24 people from? Where did that number come from?
Well, I just said take 24 people as an arbitrary number. 24 people equates out to $120 million at $5 million a piece. So you can give 24 people $5 million like we just read, or you can take the $120 million that would go to just 24 people, which isn't even a room full of Negroes out in San Francisco. And with what you would be paying to a room full of Negroes, $120 million, what could you do to improve the lot of a whole bunch of people on a long-term basis in terms of hiring teachers, educational programs, vocational programs?
But see, this is what I'm saying, though. as far as the education, everything that they're outlining here in this little 2 sentence, you could be doing it now without reparations.
But
and
they
you
don't
won't know.
have any money available for that right now.
But it
In
is
other
money
words,
out there.
no, there isn't money out there. San
And I
Francisco,
disagree with that.
no, we get it. I'll win again. Now, you'll have to apologize again. San Francisco is operating at a severe deficit. They're way in the red. You just read that. The whole state of California is
Their budget is 14 billion. Their budget is 14.
But they don't have the money because
No,
they
you
got
don't.
all of these high-tech places said, screw you. We're getting the hell out of here. The taxes is too high. There are too many regulations. It's onerous and it's absolutely ridiculous. You have too many stupid social programs you're trying to run instead of dealing with what is necessary. That's right. What's wrong with the whole state of California. It started off 25 years ago when they sold off their energy production facilities because Enron and Halliburton, that's George Bush, and that's the Walker family and Barack Obama, a member of the damn family, they came up with that crap. So California had a vast surplus, and within 2 to 3 years, they were way behind the 8 ball, operating at a deep deficit, and they haven't gotten past it since. You had Proposition 8 back in Proposition 13 back in 1978, which was a taxpayer initiative, and it says you cannot increase income tax without a 2/3 majority of the state house and the state senate, which isn't likely to happen anytime soon. Mm-hmm. So California's got a real live mess going with a lack of income to run what they're doing. They can't even operate the civil courts on the state budget, but 3 days out of 5. They operate 4 days out of 5 because the judges generously donated.
Every city in California, or just certain?
They're all state courts if they want to have any effect.
Let me finish reading this real quick.
Just think about that. That is bamboozlement. It's bull.
Let me read this. So number 2, economic empowerment. With President Biden's infrastructure bill, we want to see more Black people get the opportunity to get jobs on the billions of dollars
bullshit
work that will be done in our community and our state. Number 3, housing. We want more housing, more public housing, more affordable housing for Blacks. There should be preferential treatment for Blacks to keep our people in the city. San Francisco has fallen from 13% Black population to less than 5%. We need a new version of 40 acres and a mule. The benefits and assist Blacks to live and thrive in San Francisco, a city that has done everything it can to drive us out through discrimination, even as wholesale removal through urban renewal programs in the 1960s and 1970s. Number 4, healthcare. Blacks don't have the same lifespan as the majority population. We need programming that positively impacts our health, our longevity, and our mental health. Number 5, Fillmore Heritage Center. The redevelopment agency destroyed a great deal of the Harlem of the West when it instituted urban renewal programs and drove Black businesses and residents out of San Francisco. Our people need a Black center of town, just as there is a Japantown, a Chinatown. We need to preserve and protect the Fillmore Heritage Center and the surrounding Blacks, not only as a historic center of our people, but as a place to gather and grow the Black community for future generations. This is the NAACP.
Okay, that's bullshit. Everybody, again, you're begging. Everybody else set these things up for their own communities. We take the money that we could use to set this up, 20% of your income, 10%, where does it go? In a damn church collection plate so the preacher can floor show and
right, but why did you agree?
Profile and floss everybody.
But you did say in the beginning.
So where is the money coming from?
No, what I'm saying
is this thing about 5%, and the other thing is this bullshit artist, even that statement. San Francisco ain't never been there.
That's from the NAACP, and you said you.
I know it's bullshit. Even on San Francisco, never was the driving engine for Black folk in California. It was always Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. We used to say 50 years ago, 60 years ago, you went crazy in LA and then went to the asylum up in the Bay Area, which is about the way it goes. And I hate to be that, but I grew up in California and I was back for 15 years, at least part-time for this show I did. So I saw it from growing up South Central to being at the top of the heap economically, and it ain't like that. That state is damnably broke. They had a guy down the roadway from me where I had some properties outside of LA.
You told that story.
Well, I'll tell it again so you get the idea. Not you, but the people. It ain't long. I'll make it brief. This guy had 35,000 acres, 11,000 herd of cattle, and he paid $480-some a year property taxes. I had 26 acres, a big mansion, and I paid $48,000 a year. And this guy sold this property to a Japanese consortium for couple of $100 million, and they're setting up a $35 million country club on it. And because they let him stay in until he died, which was in his mid-90s, guess what? They only have to pay $482 a year property taxes on 35,000 acres, 36,000 acres, and a $35 million club. So California's gone to hell when it comes to that.
Okay, so wait a minute. Trying to get all
not this one. I tell you what, this is a joke. Everybody send me $10,000 and I will give you a 2-paragraph summary on how to get rich.
How about when we end the show? How about you?
I want your vote. This is what you're going to get if you vote for us. We're damn liars. We haven't delivered to you ever. And you got Willie Brown in as mayor one time. But
somebody said thanks to Willie Brown. Somebody said thanks to Willie Brown, Kamala Harris, San Francisco lost a lot of his blacks running the president.
Yeah, I mean, hell, everybody's moving the hell out of California.
They are. And you know what? They're actually coming to Ohio.
And Arizona.
And
Tennessee, Memphis. Yeah. Hell, I did.
If you make it 100,000, your money go very long in Memphis, Tennessee. Real quick though. Okay.
And you don't have individual income tax, but in California, your individual income tax essentially duplicates your IRS tax.
Well, this was another problem that I had with the NAACP of San Francisco, because they also included eligibility for these reparations, right? And this is a problem that we're going to start seeing on a state level with these BS pop-up reparations committee, right? So it says eligibility for reparations: an individual who is identified as Black/African American on public documents for at least 10 years. And you have to be 18 years older. Also, you must meet at least 2 criteria for the following list: born in San Francisco between 1940 and 1996, and has proof of residency in San Francisco for at least 13 years. Migrated to San Francisco between 1940 and 1996, and has proof of residency in San Francisco for at least 13 years. Personally or direct descendant of someone incarcerated by the failed war on drugs.
Okay, now all of the murderers and gangsters that I had run through my courtroom who set up the hits that put a lot of people under the turf, I suppose they would get qualification under this. All of the gangsters I knew growing up in LA who moved major quantities of drugs, I suppose they'd get a freebie on this one.
Yeah, and so it says record of attendance in San Francisco public schools during the time of the consent decree to complete desegregation within the school system. Descendant of someone enslaved through U.S. chattel slavery before 1965. Displaced or the direct descendant of someone displaced from San Francisco by urban renewal between 1954 and 1973. listed or a direct descent of certificate of preference holder. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that means. Certificate, huh?
Finish reading it.
Listed. This is one of the eligibility
The
requirements.
certificate of, go
Preference.
ahead.
The certificate
of preference. Go ahead.
Yeah, what is that?
Read the whole paragraph.
It's not. It was just a sentence. They didn't elaborate.
I don't know. I think I do, but I can't speak with authority. I'll go look it back up.
Member, and then the last one, member of an historically marginalized group that experienced lending discrimination in San Francisco between 1937 and 1968, or subsequently experienced lending discrimination and formally redlined San Francisco committees between 1968 and 2008. First of all,
that means what you're talking about is the gay community out there.
Thank you.
And that, see, they're writing everybody in on this. It's another one of these damn Trojan horses. You think you're getting something, but it's filled with something that's not what you want.
Thank you. And that is the problem.
It's bullshit all the way around.
I owe you an apology. Because I'm like, you're such a pessimist.
Look.
You were not being a pessimist. You were not being a pessimist.
My business for 50 years has been about the business of resolving messes where you got con artists, murderers, thieves, robbers, hold-up men, drug dealers, pimps, hoes, ne'er-do-well, gangbangers, and assholes that were not good for the people.
Right.
That's what I dealt with. Right. I recognize a con game when I see it. I have represented some of the worst cons that you ever want to think about. The most sociopathic individuals you can conceive of. I have had close contact with one way or the other. Now, when a con is a con, and in this case, they want you to vote blue. They want you to stay with them. They're lying to everybody with some crap. And like I said, see, and I remember details. What did I say? 5 million a person. No. Yeah, it turned out 5 million a person up front. 90, I said 92 because there's a range. The high is 97,000 a year for life for 260 years. Like they're going to commit the city of San Francisco to that bull when it might be under goddamn water in 260 years, the way it's going with global warming, which is a myth, I know, but it is what it is.
For people who...
By the way, let me put it this way. It's in sunny California, right? Mark Twain once spoke a tremendous truth. He said, the coldest winter I ever spent was one July in San Francisco. And because there's a deep ocean current coming by from the Barents Strait up in the Arctic, San Francisco is one cold ass place, even in the summer. So the whole damn thing is a fraud.
And so what I just read, as far as the requirements and the 5 suggestions that where the money should go with reparation, that came from the NAACP, the San Francisco NAACP chapter. Now,
and most of it probably represents most of the rest of the people.
Right. So that opens the
NAACP
marginalized groups.
These commercials you see on TV, the poor animal that doesn't know love, that's starving and has known pain, send $19 a month ASPCA to save a dog. Well, the NAACP started off more than 115 years ago at send so much a month to save a Negro. And you expect them to act any different, save a Negro. And in the most preposterous stupidity, is to claim that you're owed something by somebody that has been viciously misusing you because you allow it for several hundred years. All of a sudden, in the middle of a stream, they're going to change horses and start acting right. It ain't going to happen.
No, it doesn't work like that. You're right, because first of all, nobody's not going to give you anything. You have to take it, and we don't boycott. We're too distracted.
And wait a minute, 5% of the population is all they are, but they don't even act like it. Remember, we get all this crap going on because less than half a percentage of the U.S. population is trans, 1% is lesbian, and 1.5% is male homosexual, and you have a few more thrown in there that go both ways. So you're talking about 5% of the American population shake every damn thing up, and every damn thing has got to be a Trojan horse filled with them. So they can do it on 5%. What's wrong with these Negroes that don't have sense enough to figure out how to work it? We've been here for several hundred years. We've been at the kitchen tables, under the tables, in the third floor beds, and butlering and cleaning up, wiping dirty ass when they get sick. And we don't get
breastfeeding their babies.
and we don't get it yet. What?
Don't judge them, Joe Brown.